everyone, welcome back to Real Talk. I'm not in my normal seat because Tanik is on vacation this week, so I brought in a very special guest. I brought in, oh my gosh, where is it? I don't do this enough. There it is. It's Ryan Nadeau, my coworker and a fellow digital producer.
Indeed.
And we're here to talk about Markiplier's film debut, Iron Lung.
Iron Lung.
Which I know you were extremely excited about.
Yeah, I mean, based on the merch, you can see I'm wearing. I'm kind of a Markiplier fan, kind of. You know, just maybe for the past odd decade or so. You know, not a big deal.
Pretty chill.
So it was technically my idea for us to watch this movie, and you have humored me, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm always down to watch a movie. We know that. So we're gonna do our spoiler-free ratings. What did you think about Iron Lung, Ryan?
It's my new favorite movie of all time, which is something that we discussed because I showed you my previous favorite movie of all time,
which I also very much enjoyed.
You really liked it, and you know how much I liked it because I couldn't stop talking about it. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw this movie, I went in with, and everyone's gonna think I'm just a Markiplier glazer, but I went into this movie with high but not sky high expectations. Yeah. I hardly imagined that a horror sci-fi thriller movie would become my favorite movie of all time, but it did. It was exceptional. It was just really good. There were a lot of things I liked about it, and a lot of them are spoiler territory.
Okay.
So I'm not going to talk about that yet.
So your star rating, I'm assing, would be a 5
yes,
star.
Yes, it's a 5 star. It's
yeah.
a really good movie. So
I would give it a 4. I also enjoyed it. I'm less familiar with the game itself. But I was just really impressed with this as his debut. I think Markiplier did a great job. I'm also just already a fan of his and watched him a lot in my youth. And so I think it was also just a comforting thing to see him back on a screen and see him on a big screen because he's a very comforting presence. So yeah, I would give it 4 stars. But let's get into spoilers so you can talk about what this film really meant to you.
Yeah, so I remember when the Let's Play where he first played Iron Lung came out. And I remember watching it and thinking it was a really interesting game. I feel like if people are watching this, they've seen the film probably, or maybe they're interested in the film, but just to give, a basic idea of the game, it's a first-person, horror thriller style game. You play it for it's maybe about an hour-long runtime, and you are in a submarine that is going into a blood ocean.
Casually.
I noted right before we started that you're repping that blood ocean right there. I have the Markiplier merch. You have the blood ocean merch.
I want to do immersive.
So yeah, and that's we'll get into how immersive the film was in a second. But essentially, you're exploring this blood ocean because you as the player have been forced to do so for reasons that are explained in the film a little more. And looking for signs of life because this is a post-apocalyptic world where all life has disappeared in what's called the Quiet Rapture. And so the game is just about this exploration, right? And so the game is a lot about building tension and about all the noises you're hearing from the outside because you can't see outside. You're in a blood ocean. You can't peer through blood, right? All you have is this X-ray style camera that you can use when you want to see what's happening in front of you. And
it's also the source of light, a big source of light in the submarine itself.
Yes, and in the film they did a really good job of talking about that and or rather executing that. But essentially, the game itself is just very atmospheric. It's very focused on being an atmospheric experience. And that's something that I feel is really capitalized on in the film.
Agreed.
This space that Markiplier is occupying as the character of Simon.
Because he does play the main character.
Yes, he does play the main character. He directed, he edited, he did practically everything for this film. But this space is probably about the size of this office that we're currently in.
Yeah.
It's not big. And yet that claustrophobic feeling, you feel it watching the film. And they do a lot of awesome work with inventive camera angles to make you feel very immersed in the space. The sound design was exceptional.
Agreed.
There was just so many unsettling noises.
Yeah.
And it felt dark and cramped and just I felt like I was there with this dude.
100%. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. And I think it's a testament to a film's quality when you can make one setting feel so immersive and so expansive and so I don't want us to go anywhere else. I want to stay in the submarine with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're literally there the entire time.
Yes. There's a couple of moments where you're flashing back to things in Simon's past, but for 98% of the film happens in that sub, and
Tiny
it's just
space.
oh, it's so good.
And I was,
It's
it is,
exceptional.
and I was worried that was going to be a problem because I was like, how are they
Yeah.
going to make this interesting enough to hold people's attention span just staying in the submarine? But yeah, you are also following him as he's realizing why he's being put down there, if he's going to survive, and all of these different things.
Yeah, and it's that I really think that's kind of where this film shines the most, is how much you can put you are kind of put in Simon's position when you're watching it, and all those things like lighting and sound and all that help you feel that way. But also Mark's performance
dude.
he goes between, like, he feels very relatable. Simon as a character feels like this is just an average dude who's been stuck in this situation, and you feel like you could understand him. He's quirky. He makes jokes about like how like you're not just pretending you can't hear me, right? And like the bit about like where he's like, it had letters on it, I can read, like, you know, like like things that I think we'd all say to diffuse the tension in a horrible situation. But he's also got this clear drive to want to live.
Yeah.
And as I think most of us would, right? And it was really great to feel so much like this could just be me.
Yeah.
Like you could just pull him out of the film, put me in.
Yeah.
And like I'm being made to experience this in his shoes. That was probably my favorite part of the film, was just how much I felt like I was sucked into the universe.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Agreed. I was very impressed with Markiplier's performance because I was also afraid it was going to be the thing of I just feel like I'm watching Markiplier do like a Let's Play. Like I feel like I'm just watching Markiplier scream. And at certain parts, I did feel that way. But overall, I felt like it was a truly it had a lot of depth to it. And it was a very good like emotional performance. And I was like, whoa. I feel like I almost had some tears going as well, just for certain parts.
Yeah,
and we could get into the emotional,
Yes, of course, because a lot of that's wrapped into the ending for me. Like the ending was very emotional, but I think that the reason the ending hits so hard is because of the narrative arc that you watch Simon go through.
Yeah,
you watch him go from someone who has been ostracized and
because they also
criminalized.
set up that he is a convict.
Yes, yeah, and that's canon in the game, is that the person being sent down there is being sent down there by force because of this conflict between Eden and the consolidation of iron.
Yeah.
But in the game, we don't know who that is. So all the lore about Simon specifically is film exclusive, right? Simon is not a thing in the game, but his circumstances are canon to the game, But learning more about Eden, because we didn't know about that the bracelet that he wears, that he's like the representation of like the last tree and all that.
Yeah.
There's that part where he's like holding it and starts crying, and it was just like genuinely absolutely gutting.
Yeah.
And then the shots of it, like when he's struggling to live, there was like a shot like under the console of showing that hanging there, and the part where it broke and he started
and it's
breaking
covered in
down
blood
a bit.
and.
It was really good. But I forget where I was going with that. I think part of the reason it was easier for me to not see him just as a Markiplier was how much of his content, his film, like not film content, because it's the first film he's ever made, but all of his like fictional content that I've consumed. Yeah. He's made 3 different like long form YouTube original style pieces. He did a TV series, which was, in my opinion, not super good, but good. Listen, I support that man, but it was.
Well, that proves that you're not a Markiplier glazer.
No,
because you have some criticism you can level against.
His performance in this, I'm talking about The Edge of Sleep, which was a TV series that was like adapted off of a radio show. His performance was great. I was just not impressed by the plot.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, you can't win them all. But I was impressed. I have been impressed by all the YouTube originals he did, particularly his most recent one, In Space with Markiplier, was really, really, really good. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Have you seen that? I'm out of curiosity.
I have not.
It's I don't know if you know anything about his like with Markiplier style videos, but they're like a choose your own adventure.
Oh, okay,
where
cool.
you make decisions and you go through the story, and like it's really fun. It's very inventive. He kind of did it as a one-off bit for Valentine's Day like several years ago. Cute. And then he did 2 follow-ups, and they're extremely good.
I'm so happy to see how his fan base has turned out, because I don't think I would have known about this movie unless you had talked about it so much and talked about how excited you were for it.
That's the thing. The marketing was non-existent, right? It was just him talking about this film with his fans. The film budget was less than $3 million, and it's grossed including international, 21.7 is what I saw this morning.
Which is crazy.
Almost 18 domestically. It beat Send Help for 2 days straight. Send Help.
By Sam Raimi, a very critically acclaimed film director, horror film director especially.
On Sunday, it snuck back. Send Help ended up sneaking back in and beating Iron Lung, but only by like $2 million, which is so impressive. Seriously.
And I saw both back to back, and I was just very impressed.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Send Help. It's not me being
Help.
like, screw Send Help. Like, we watch Iron Lung. It's awesome to see an independent. No studio helped him distribute this. He asked his fans, he's like, hey, we're calling theaters. We want this in theaters. But they don't want to listen to us. They want to listen to fans. Yeah. And it went from like a very small release to Regal, AMC, Cinemark, all these people picking it up, and it was really heartening and amazing to see.
So we've talked about all the good stuff, but I do feel like we have to talk about, and I'm not going to bring up, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to pretend like this is like a little bit, and I'm going to play devil's advocate and be like, here are the criticisms that we've seen. Sure. Yeah, and then I want to see you
I've seen a lot of criticism. Yeah. I have.
One of the main ones that I've seen, and one that was from somebody that I saw this with, was that there wasn't enough explanation or exposition. Mm-hmm. People were very lost about what's going on. If you're not familiar with the game, I think I can agree with that to some degree, but I liked not knowing what was going on because it helps put you in his headspace.
And that's 100% what my perspective was.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to my husband about this morning. I was thinking to myself, I was like, I feel like everything was really well explained personally.
Yeah.
In a very like not expository, like just dropping the information as it's relevant, as it would naturally come up. Because I don't like being spoon-fed exposition. I like being it naturally being shown. So I guess my response to your question is, can you tell me what? Because I realize this might also be me being like, wasn't confused. Yeah. It explained everything, but maybe secretly I'm like melding the game and the film. True. So what questions did you and the person you saw with this have that you felt the film didn't answer?
I think one of the big ones was what Film and Station was and what that meant to the community.
Yeah.
Was from the person I saw with. Again, I prefer this method than they do the 10 minutes where they just like, it's two characters being like, and it was crazy how that quiet rapture happened where all the planets disappeared, like where they just tell us everything that happened in like 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Then it makes you feel like, as the audience, do you think I'm stupid? Like, do you think I can't have exposition kind of like sprinkled in? But I think the Film and Station was a big thing. And just what Eden was trying to do as a whole. Yeah. Like, obviously you can tell that they're kind of a rebel cause. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So this is why I wanted to ask somebody, because like to me, I think that was the game feeding into me a little bit, because I understand they don't really talk about Film and Station in that way. So this is why I'm glad you asked, because like in my head I'm like, that was so clear, but it's clearly me mushing the game and the film together. Yeah. So I know this doesn't fix the issue, but Film and Station, the point of that was that it was, I believe, a space station affiliated with COI, so the Consolidation of Iron. Yeah.
And in the game, it's explained to you that Eden attacked Film and Station, and that they ended up destroying it. That there was some kind of issue where it ended up being destroyed, and everyone on board died.
Yeah.
So Eden and the Consolidation of Iron are at odds because they're two different space collectives, I guess, that existed. They existed prior to the Quiet Rapture, and apparently had animosity. And I feel like this is explained in the film, but after the Quiet Rapture, it got worse, right?
Yeah.
And Eden's whole philosophy is kind of explained a little bit in the film, but this idea that like, it's more like spiritual and like kind of like, that's why they call each other like brother and stuff like that. Yeah. And they have this like obsession with the last tree, which I feel like it's mentioned in the film. I believe it's mentioned in the film.
Yeah, it is.
What the bracelet thing is. But the Consolidation of Iron is like very, as the name would imply, very like practical, right? Which is why they're the ones behind the Blood Ocean thing. And
trying to go down and get samples of things and skeletons and trying to get material.
And so Eden's kind of like seen as them as like wishy-washy, like, whereas they see themselves as very like hands-on, fix the problem, and so it seems as though Simon, this is all new in the film, was born on Eden, which is why he said like, I didn't really get on with them. I didn't pick this, right? Yeah. And it sounds like he had a history. My husband really loved the butcher bit. Thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Had a history of being violent, and then when they wanted to destroy Film and Station, he stood against them. Yeah. But he had to kill them, right? Yeah. And that was so interesting to me.
Gives his character depth. And
Absolutely.
Because you only see him as a very empathetic, kind person, especially when there's a part where he accidentally fires this X-ray camera, which he didn't realize was an X-ray camera, to the crew of the consolidation of iron.
Yes.
And injures one of, I think that was Jacksepticeye.
It was Jacksepticeye. That was Sean McLaughlin. Yep, that was him.
And injures him. And you see that he is genuinely sorry for doing that.
He's clearly has complexities, right?
Yeah.
And I think that hint of his empathy is why the ending hits so hard.
Yeah.
Because you go from this guy that Ava's actress.
Oh my gosh.
Her bills were due. Okay,
her rent is paid.
Yeah, especially that final bit. I was telling my husband afterwards, I didn't realize what was happening to her.
Yeah.
And then all at once, the picture of the monster with the sub in its jaw, I was like, oh my God, that's Ava. That's her.
Yeah.
But him going from, I'm from Eden, you're from the COI, you suck, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Seeing Ava that way, the audience sees Ava that way.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's whispering her mantra as he not allows himself to die. He didn't choose it, but does what he needs to do, crawls through that crawl space. My God, that was such an uncomfortable sequence.
Oh, dude.
And then saves the black box, and the ending is hopeful. But you see this guy who wanted to live so bad, accept his death, face this thing head on, and do the right thing. And it's just that's why I wanted to cry. I was like, this is crazy.
I agree. It was also I felt an emotional response from that as well. And I think we should explain that the ending, the blood, they do reveal that the blood that they're going through is human blood.
Yes,
but it also is like its own entity.
Yeah, which was not explored in the game. That was brand new.
The sub.
It's so fascinating.
It is. And all of that effects work was really good, I felt like. Yeah. All of Mark's, how it affected his body. And
God, the arm ripping off bit was brutal. That was so bad.
It was.
But it was so interesting. It was so fascinating.
And that's why I don't understand. Because I saw another critique that was which I understand why certain viewers are saying this. Not really. It was very long, boring, not enough action. It didn't hold the attention span, which I disagree with. I think it's just maybe a generation of film people that are used to movies that have a lot of action sequences, and they're playing to the majority of audiences, which I think this movie does a good job of. It held my attention the whole time.
Yeah, I was engrossed.
And absolutely. I did not think that it was too long or boring at all. I think it did a good job of slowly progressing through. It wouldn't make sense to put in a huge action thing right at the start, because then you're not.
About tension building, right? But no, you're right. And actually, I said something to this effect, and then Mark said it later in a video I watched, where I was like, the beginning was slow, but because it's intentionally slow. Yeah. Right? It's this idea of...
Because you still feel stakes at the beginning. 100%. Even though it's slow, you still feel this guy could die.
Yeah. I mean, this, it's made very clear that he's been in this sub for a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
He's exhausted, he's got CO2 poisoning, he's got radiation poisoning, he's got all these things going on. And there are portions where it's meant to drag to make you be like, get me out of here. Yeah. Get me out of this sub. Why am I still in here? And I feel like Mark is trying to convey that, right? Yeah. In those periods of length where you're like, I need something to happen. Come on, move on. Yeah. It's supposed to make you feel his desperation to get out of the sub. And then I watched a video from Mark last night or the night before recently where he was reacting to the box office numbers. And he was reading a review where someone basically said that, and he was like, it's really meaningful that someone said this because that's what I was trying to get across. Yeah. And I was like, well, hey, Mark, I got you, bud. I felt that.
I felt that too. So, and it makes me want to go play the game and go watch Mark play the game.
It's a good game. It's a good game. It's a quick play. It's an hour. If you do all the achievements and find the secret, the SM8, the other sub that he comes across is in the game. It's an Easter egg. You don't have to find it. You basically, this is something that's not mentioned in the film, but there's multiple subs that have been sent down and can be sent down. Yeah. And the SM8 was, as they do say this in the movie, it was the best one. And yet it would appear that it was destroyed by this creature.
Which was terrifying as well.
God, yeah. And the build up to this creature doing what it did was just so astoundingly good. Yeah. It was really, really good. Yeah. But I could go on about this movie forever. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Hey, and unfortunately we don't have forever. But I think we did a good job. And I'm glad that we both came in here enjoying the film and also could bring up some critiques.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think anybody who didn't enjoy this film is completely justified in not enjoying this film. I do feel like it is, and all films are art pieces, but I do feel like this one ventures into art piece territory and that it is trying to get you to feel a certain way. And if you aren't expecting that, I can see why that way would make you feel like this was an arduous thing to watch. It was difficult to do. Well, what Simon is going through is pretty arduous and difficult, you know? And I think that's... But I also think that if you don't like movies that do that to you, where you don't like that they do... that I understand that. I get that. I didn't like people who were like, it just felt like watching Mark in an escape room, and it was this, and he's a bad actor, and this, that. And I'm like...
I was like, then you didn't... I feel like then you didn't engross yourself. Yeah. You didn't let yourself be immersed in the... I feel like they already had preconceived notions in their head, and they weren't keeping their heart open.
I'm seeing a lot of people talk about him and like where they use the word YouTuber like it's a bad word.
Yeah.
And I just think that... YouTubers got a bad rap, and I think Mark is one of those people that I've always respected as a content creator and as a creative. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people went into this like, it's just another YouTuber movie, and I'm like, okay, if they've got a bad reputation, cool, but like...
Even if it was, why is that a bad thing?
They think it is. I don't know.
Which is, I disagree.
But, no, there's I would watch this movie a million times. I will say one thing before we go.
No, of course.
One thing that I did walk out of the theater not loving, but I don't know if it's just me or like I don't know if it's like a proper complaint, was the audio mixing for the radio. Because sometimes there are parts where I couldn't understand what was coming out of the intercom, particularly near the end when there was like that overlay of like the collective voice and like all that. And my husband and I agreed on that. We were like, it was difficult to understand. But I know that I have hearing issues. So I was looking online, and some people did agree. I do think it would rip you out of the immersion if you could hear them clearly, because it's clearly a very broken radio.
And he beats it up as well.
Yes, absolutely. God, that part, I forgot to mention that part. That was so relatable. The 100%. Hole breach, fire, hole breach, fire. It was so funny. Yeah. But I do think that that's reasonable to have come out of it like I didn't understand the plot because I couldn't understand the radio. Yeah. So that's why I'm hoping I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray or whatever it comes out on 100%. Certainly. And when I have captions, I will be delighted. So I think if that's a critique someone has, I think it's very understandable.
I felt that way, but I think it was hard for me to hear that at times as well.
Yeah, but at least I also get his constraints. If they made it too clear, it would kind of feel strange. So like I do get it. Yeah. So. But yeah.
All right. Well, those are Ryan and I's thoughts on Iron Lung.
Go see it. But I don't know if it's still in theaters, but if it is still in theaters,
I think it is.
Go see it.
Go see it. Movie. Thank you, Ryan, for joining me.
I'm
this
happy
made me so
to be
happy.
Here. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, guys, we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning
in the next video.
Bye-bye. Bye.